Hi there, I'm Trunks from Dragon Ball Z Abridged, and these are the Anime Egotists. You know, in the future, podcasts are a little bit different. They're actually from pods. You know, people trying to hide from the androids and everything. I had a favorite podcast for a while, but it got canceled. By the androids. They got killed by the androids. Don't get killed by the androids!
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where Professor Kukui would pass us as long as we didn't show up.
Exactly. We're his two biggest failures.
I wouldn't say that. I just think personality-wise, he just can't stand us.
Tomato, tomato.
Fair enough. Anyways, my name's Alex, and I find it kind of weird how we've never seen Professor Kukui and the Masked Royal together. It's kind of odd.
Kukui always gets box seats for that. I'm Richard.
That is true. And Alola, guys. What's going on? So, some of you may have noticed we're making a lot of Sun and Moon references. Probably more than we've ever done on this channel.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Hawaii. I guess I'm in a scuba shirt, so...
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
there's
basically,
Hawaii.
You guys are... to basically make a short story long, you guys seem to like the videos we do when we take game protagonists from Pokemon and throw them into the anime alongside Ash and his moron friends. You guys really seem to like those videos, with Lucas discovering more of what he wants to be after being sheltered for so long. Cal finally accepting his dream of wanting to be a champion, and Brendan and Ethan being Brendan and Ethan. Honestly, we have to go back and touch those.
Yeah, well, those will probably get their own individual videos someday.
Yes. Yes, you guys seem to like our ideas. Once again, we're not really sure why. But we wanted to continue that, and yeah, we might do black and white someday, but we're still figuring it out. But this time, we wanted to do it for Sun and Moon, and considering there are two playable characters and neither of them show up in the anime, we had to go back to doing two this time.
Yeah, so in this case, it's Selene and Elio.
That is
the
correct.
two characters.
That is
Otherwise,
correct.
in this case, their other names are Moon is the female protagonist and Sun is the male, based on what I was doing research for.
That is completely correct. And this might be a little bit of a tricky one, because Richard and I have both admitted that Sun and Moon is not our favorite Pokemon anime. I think I enjoy it, but it definitely has some issues. Hopefully Elio and Selene don't suffer through that, though.
Yeah, I've still got to go back and finish season 2 and watch the first part of season 1, or season 3, so I can know where it goes from there, because I know there's bits and pieces that I still haven't seen, but I think that this one I knew a bit better than Black and White originally.
Yeah, but since we can cover for each other. So Elio and Selene and their journeys.
Yeah. So which one do you want to start with, or how do you want to start this?
I kind of just had ideas for both of them, because that's the thing. We've kind of talked before, and a lot of the playable characters interact with each other in some way, whether it's Brendan and May bickering, Lucas and Dawn interacting, just a lot of different ways of it. Honestly, I'd have Elio and Selene be childhood friends.
Okay, I can kind of see it. So just so everybody's aware, though, we're not taking anything from any sort of sources. So like the manga or anything, we may take elements, but we won't take the full story. That just doesn't work.
Exactly. Plus, it's just way too easy.
Yeah, well, not necessarily, because sometimes the manga gets a lot darker than, especially like Sun and Moon series. So
yeah, but basically, we like to come up with our own stuff, maybe take some inspiration, etc., etc. Ultimately, the two have been friends basically since they were kids. But I figured Elio moved to Alola when they were both from Kanto, but Elio moved to Alola when he was younger, and right around the time Selene really wanted to start her journey, she basically thought, I want to be with my best friend while I'm doing my travels, so I want to go to Alola. And they're both basically the same person when they're together. Very animated, loud, kind of to the point where people would how do I put this? You've seen Ouran High School Host Club, correct?
Yeah.
Do you remember Karu and Hikaru?
Yes.
They're basically the exact same person when they're together. But when they're apart, they're very different, and people don't always know how to read them after that point.
Okay, I can see that being kind of their personality. God, I was thinking that one of them would, like, when they're separate, so if they go on like separate adventures, one of them would be kind of the more almost aggressive, not physically aggressive, but like when they're separated, they're like the ones that you start thinking, oh, they must be kind of the leader in their dynamic kind of idea.
I honestly kind of figured and I had to take some elements from Masters because Masters actually does a really good job of giving them kind of different dynamics. Elio's a little more serious and hardworking, while Selene's kind of, I don't want to be mean about this, but kind of ditzy at times.
Okay. Okay. That seems like an interesting one. I'm trying to think if there's like I'm trying to think of who they would be when compared to like the other characters. So like Mallow.
I don't know it for Selene, but I know that Elio would be a little closer to Kiawe in terms of personality, especially in the beginning, because Kiawe was very kind of serious and stoic before whatever they did with him later down the line. But just he's very focused on his work. Like maybe he does a lot of odd jobs. Like maybe he focuses on deliveries and stuff. And it's like, oh, Kiawe, looks like you have a rival. And he's like, what? And Kiawe gets kind of aggressive like he usually does. And Elio and him they act aggressive towards each other like they're gonna fight. But then 2 seconds later, they both just start laughing. I'm like, you're all right.
I could just see them both being like, oh, there's an Uber Eats order. And they're both just trying to get it first.
My, damn it!
God, that would be kind of that would give Kiawe something more than just, at least at the first, where he's just kind of the, not goody two-shoes about everything, but very, about Alolan culture and all that.
Yeah. And also, just, I kind of had to took a little bit of inspiration from the manga, but do you remember the Pelago Islands or whatever those were called?
Yeah, it's the thing that Lily's dad technically created.
Yeah. In the anime, those don't exist. I'd have Elio's goal basically be, I want to kind of not necessarily start my own region, but basically start my own area or like foundation where I can help Pokemon. Because maybe he can open up and say, oh, my grandfather always wanted to do that, so he worked a lot. And then and they mentioned death, so he can even say, so he's gone. And so I want to continue his dream, and that's kind of why he's so money oriented. Like, think Vector from Sonic Heroes or Sonic X. Like, ultimately he will do anything for money, but at the same time he'll go out of his way to do nice stuff when the time comes.
Okay, so I do see that you're borrowing some stuff from the manga here, because that is what I was able to glean from his character as being the delivery boy and wanting to make money to set up his own kind of island paradise for Pokemon.
Yeah, but I'm taking out the Faba stuff or the Foundation stuff, because to me that just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, oh, well, maybe you can buy the Foundation when you have enough money or something like that. And then he gets it and it's like, oh, no, I'm just kidding. I read that part and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. I'm trying to think. I mean, he might have like a little bit of a rivalry, because I know the Aether Foundation, at least from my experience in the games, is supposed to be that they're wanting to save Pokemon, but not really, and him just not necessarily trusting them fully. And
oh no, that's because when you go back and watch that arc, the scientist Faba, in my opinion, he gets forgiven by people a little too easily. I would have Elio be the one person throughout basically the whole series and be like, I don't trust you. I will work with you for this because we have to save the day, but I don't trust you.
Okay, I'll agree to that. I think his mindset is still that he's never going to fully trust them. I could see him even having that, taking that to like Lusamine and stuff. He likes her as Lily's mom in from the anime, not the games, because oh my god, that's completely different.
Yep.
But still just not. But when it comes to her as the Aether Foundation chairwoman, he doesn't like her for that.
Yeah. And I thought his starter could have been Poplio. It's kind of difficult because, like Diamond and Pearl, the starters get a lot of focus, and you could argue maybe a little too much at times, but I just said Poplio because why not?
Okay, I'm just trying to think of, yeah, because there's already kind of a few Littons and Pyroars and all that throughout the series, and a couple Decidueye and
it's the best we can do with what we're given sometimes.
So okay, I did have one Pokemon. I took this from the manga, but he has an Alolan Meowth. I would want him to have it, but it be female, and it always wants to just it's fallen in love with Team Rocket's Meowth, and
oh, gosh.
He's just freaking out because he doesn't know how to react around it.
I could be okay with that,
because I think that would be a kind of a nice little relationship. To Meowth shows up for battle, and then this other Meowth randomly just runs out on the field and gets up to it, and he just freezes right there and tries to get away. It's just him running around the battlefield.
I honestly thought of Selene and her mom having the Meowth, but either one works. I wasn't really married to either option, to be completely honest.
Either or. I mean,
that's the weird thing though, because you go back and you'll like look at every form of media. They don't do a great job of showcasing which one of them is the main character. Like, you could argue Brendan's the main character, or based on the games, Dawn's the main character, Serena. They don't do that for Sun and Moon. They're very secretive about that.
Yeah, because I mean, they're both kind of, from my understanding in the manga, they're both introduced really at the same time, and then everything is just kind of them together almost. They might have a few scenes separate, but from my understanding, they do a lot together in the manga.
Yeah. I also kind of see him being a little more on the blunt side.
I could see it. They kind of need that to round out the dynamic that the Sun and Moon cast had anyway. There wasn't, everybody's so friendly in it.
Like, I remember you came over one day and I showed you the episode where they did the school play or whatever it was.
Oh god, I just remembered that.
Yeah, I envisioned like him and Selene show up like maybe a few episodes after that, and it's like, oh man, you guys had a school play? Hey, we would have loved to have been part of it. We would have loved you guys to have been part of it. And Elio's like, no, not me. Have you guys seen Selene heard Selene sing? It's not great. And then maybe she hits him or something.
I could see it, yeah. Just because, I mean, there was a little bit, but not compared to the older series where there was that poking fun at each other in Sun and Moon, which didn't really exist.
Yeah, you felt like if you poked fun at somebody in Sun and Moon, they might start crying or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so this could definitely be a good add to just balance the series more, show that they have a dynamic that they can joke around with each other more than just, oh, a little kid joke. Okay.
Yeah. I guess we should talk about Selene in some aspects.
Yeah, so you said she's more of a bit ditzy when it comes to being by herself, or?
Yeah. Basically, she comes from the Kanto region, and it kind of takes her a while to understand the culture of Alola. Not that, like, I kind of would want her in a way to kind of relate to Ash in some senses, but at the same time, she's like, look. I guess I remember one of the earliest episodes that we kind of had a problem with was Ash had some school presentation that he had to cheat at or something.
Oh god, I vaguely remember that episode.
Yeah, I had to rewatch a lot of Sun and Moon for this. Anyways, I feel like Selene would kind of be the opposite. She doesn't understand the culture, but she's very book smart. Like, she kind of picks up on stuff really easily.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so just pretty much to put it in another way, so she's book smart, not street smart.
Exactly. Or beach smart, wherever. You understand what I mean.
I could almost see her getting like caught up in Team Skull schemes that just
No, I
randomly
thought the same thing.
just she's just like, oh yeah, like I could see her showing up to school one day dressed as a random Team Skull grunt and saying, "Oh, I joined this nice new club I found out about called Team Skull."
And Elio could immediately be like, "And you didn't get one for me, your best friend." And she's like, "No, I can ask next time." They're like, "But they're the bad guys." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't know. I get the feeling while Selene is more attached to Team Skull and their story, I feel like Elia would be more centric to Team Rocket or the Aether Foundation, because one of the things I will say, we did agree that Sun and Moon did really well was Team Rocket, because there were moments where they were working at their actual job, but at the same time, they actually had moments where it felt like they were happier not doing Team Rocket stuff. And maybe that's where he could kind of realize, I've been working a lot my whole life. I can relax a little bit, and he could learn that from Team Rocket more than the actual Alola game, because I just think that'd be funnier.
Well, I could almost see that one of his jobs is that Team Rocket's like manager needs someone to come and inspect their restaurants or something, and he hires Elio to be the inspector, and it's just them trying to hide the fact that they're Team Rocket while getting their restaurant inspected by Elio.
That would be perfect. That would honestly be perfect. I even kind of thought, one of the things I did notice, Elio and Ash dress very similarly.
Yeah, actually, I think it's the exact same outfit except for the hat.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, Ash's like, oh, it's like we're twins, huh, buddy? And Elio's like, change your outfit. I'm not sure. Change your outfit.
Then season 2 comes around and he just changes into his Ultra outfit, just to be different.
I either thought that or the episode where they all go to Kanto to see Misty and Brock or something like that.
So, I guess back to Selene. So we've kind of talked about Elio having Primarina / that starter line and Meowth. Do we have any, like, what do we want Selene to have, like a Kanto Star? She started her journey there, but went straight to to Alola. That way, it's a little different, at least.
I kind of struggled with that. I will say, I do have her getting a Kanto Pokemon. I just did not think, oh, a starter. I did not. Maybe it's a case of she already, similar to Ash, she has Pokemon back home, but she's starting fresh.
Okay, because I was kind of thinking that she might be a good one. This would give, like, if she's gonna have a starter Pokemon, I don't really want to give her one of the Alola, and we've got like 15 people who have them now.
I was gonna say Rowlet, but okay.
Well, I was gonna say Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
It's it's pretty much, in my opinion, the one that was kind of featured the least in the original series. And then it would just be a unique one you wouldn't expect necessarily for her to have here.
I also had another Pokemon that nobody expected her to have, but we'll get into that later. I can live with Bulbasaur. I don't know. I feel kind of weird, especially since, what's their names? Tierno, Trevor, and Shauna just got a Kanto starters for some reason. See, the starters are difficult, especially with series like this.
Yeah, I mean, at least in X and Y, it made sense because they were supposed to be the Mega Evolution generation, and each of them had one. But
yeah, but I don't. Look,
we'll come back to this.
Yeah. Hey, we're already doing a better job than one we did with Callum's team, because we were struggling. We were completely struggling with that. I wouldn't have them go to the school. I mean, they could pop their heads in for events every now and then. Maybe take a class every now. Maybe, like, what's the word? Sit in on a class or whatever the term is. I don't know. But I'd have Elio do his jobs like usual, and I'd have Selene actually just, I don't know. As much as I didn't love the episode where they all dressed up as Nurse Joy, and they got Ash to dress up as Nurse Joy and gave him a wig, and I don't know. I like to think that, like Elio, she likes to help Pokemon, so maybe it's a case of, oh, I have nothing better to do, so when I'm not doing all the trials and stuff, which she would be doing, maybe she's a regular helper at the Pokemon Center.
I could see that. I could almost see it being like it's not even a Pokemon Center. She does like the healing out in the one of the more deserted islands is kind of her focus. She does field medicine or something.
Yeah. Yeah, heck, maybe that same episode she shows up at the center and she's basically instructing everybody, and that's when she's kind of serious, like, hey, you go here, get me all the stuff I need, chop chop. And they're all just like, is she always like this? And Elio's like, sometimes. Sometimes it even scares me.
I could see that. I could see there being so I guess we'll kind of need to talk about the episode. I could see, based on how we've kind of created Selene, there being a real emotional connection to the Lytton Stoutland episodes, where she's wanting to find a way of helping the Stoutland, and I could see it almost being hard on her when the Stoutland passes away and all of that. So
I could definitely see that, and honestly, that could be kind of the moment where look, I feel like she would open up to the gang a lot faster than Elio, but it could still be a case of, these guys are my friends, and I appreciate them looking out for me. Heck, maybe it's a case of, like, they all get together to cheer her up, and then one of them says, oh, well, it was all Elio's idea. He's the one who really wants to cheer you up, and he's like, shut the... Well, you're my friend. I want you to be happy.
yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that would be a good dynamic for the two of them to be the pretty much I'm trying to think of how to put it, just different from the rest of the characters, because unfortunately with Sun and Moon a lot of the characters seem to have almost overlapping personalities, so I think so far we've created different enough to make them feel good and fit the story.
Heck, I even had an interaction for them with Professor Samson.
Okay.
Yeah, he tells one of his usual jokes, but instead of cringing, they both just sort of look at him kind of confused. It was like, maybe like he tells a Quagsire joke or something like that, and Selene's like, "Oh, I get it, because Quagsire's water, and we're in the Pokemon Center, which has water." And Elio's just like, "No, it just wasn't that funny."
I can see that, but then I almost want them to be like, towards the end they kind of start working with him and just
be very careful about what you say, man.
But, like every time he makes a joke, they make the exact same Pokemon face just behind him. It's just like just randomly, he says something, he makes the face, and they're behind him in the background making the exact same face.
That would have to be very few and far between, because, like we said, some of those were the opposite of, they were rough. Some of them were rough.
But I think it fits their personality when they're together, kind of.
You're right. That does make, all right. You turned me around. That does make sense.
Yeah, if they're separate, then they just kind of react like, "Wow, you're stupid" or whatever, or try to figure it out, like you said. And it's just one of those things. It's like if they're together, all of a sudden it's funny because they're doing it together.
Yeah. Heck, I talked briefly before that some characters might make fourth wall jokes more than others. I feel like these two would be the type to do that, and Team Rocket would be like, nice, because Team Rocket do it all the damn time.
Okay. God. So what would so we talked about Selene's relationship with Team Skull and Elio's relationship with Team Rocket, but what would be their relationship the vice versa? So if Elio interacts with Team Skull, would he just be like, "What are y'all doing?" Or how would he react to you, do you think?
I kind of think it would be funny if, like, here's the thing. He's not stupid. He's heard about all these different evil organizations, Team Aqua, Team Magma, etc., etc. So at first he's like, Team Skull? Well, like, at first he thinks, oh my god, these guys are going to be dangerous. We have to prepare for them. And then he starts hearing them rapping, and he's like, wait, this is not at all what I had pictured.
Okay. So I actually had an idea though for Selene. The first time she sees Team Rocket and them doing their pose, she joins in. Just she randomly, like, they do the final pose, and then it's like hers standing like right behind Jesse, where in the R.
And then they turn around, it's just like, we appreciate your enthusiasm, but look, we're still going to take your Pokemon. She's like, but why?
They're my friends, and they're just like, you don't understand what we are, do you?
Heck, you could even have Elio in the background of certain episodes be like tapping his, like when Team Skull do their whole motto, he doesn't do anything obvious, but you could see him like tapping his foot and like moving his head to the music, and then you could see him doing it, and he's like, "I apologize for nothing."
Speaking of that, I could see him in one of the episodes. He gets a rush order where he has to take something from one island to like the other end of the island chain, and he at first he runs into like Team Skull and stuff, and they're trying to talk to him and all that, and he just sends out his Pokemon to attack so he can hurry and do this quick delivery as fast as possible. I don't have time for this.
I feel like what would make that kind of hilarious is because I do see these guys having Z rings. I want them to do a Z move, but as fast as possible. Oh, it even like fast forwards through the animations. Like, all right, yep, gotta go.
So, oh God, what is that? The Wild Whirlpool or something. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've dealt with Z moves.
Oceanic something. I don't know. I was just playing and I already forgot. Heck, maybe Pop Leo's a lot more playful while he's a little more serious, and they kind of balance each other out in a way.
I can see it, and then so we've gone over kind of that part. I'm trying to think of what would be a good next part for this.
Honestly, that's the weird thing for me with Sun and Moon. The story of Lily and her fear of touching Pokemon and everything, I thought, oh, that's going to go across like the whole anime, right? And then it didn't. So I don't know. Oh, I do have kind of an interaction between all of them and Lily, though.
Okay.
I feel like Selene, while she does pick up on the fact that Lily at first does not want to touch Pokemon, I feel like at the same time she's always trying to, I wouldn't say like break her of that habit, but maybe in a way she doesn't, it's one of the things where she doesn't notice at first, oh my god, even the most cuddly, most adorable Pokemon doesn't really seems to faze her. So maybe it's a case of she tries a little harder to be like nice to Lily, and Lily realizes she's completely changing herself for me. Like, you don't have to do that. I'll touch Pokemon eventually. Maybe. Probably not.
I could see that. I could also see Elio almost being a jerk about it, and just he's constantly taking like a Pokemon and just holding it up like in her face randomly, or like putting it like on her hand, just like touch it.
That would be so messed up. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I had an idea for. Let me put it this way: Elio and Lily's dynamic. I spent hours trying to figure out what would their dynamic be, and I kept getting stuck on a couple of different things.
Okay.
I feel like he finds Lucamine kind of, let's just say, not the best parent.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, he sees what she's going through, and he kind of tries to be a little bit nicer about it. I don't know. I guess for me, I want him to develop a soft side for some of these characters. Heck, maybe in some cases she hides behind him when a Pokemon shows up or Team Rocket shows up, and then maybe it's just a case of Olivia showing up and just be like, "Oh, you two are awfully close," and he's like, "Well, it's." No, I'm just protecting her. Nothing. Okay. And Selene would be like, your crush on her is really cute. And he's like, shut up.
Again, I think you've mentioned this before, but I seem to like to create at least one of our characters as jerks for this.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Perfect. Hey, tell you, I'll do you one this. We can have him be a jerk to Sophocles.
Well, that's perfectly fine.
Oh, see there, perfect. Maybe it's a. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say he randomly hires himself to be Sophocles' trainer, so he just chases him around the school trying to get him to do exercise.
I was thinking maybe he delivers something for Sophocles, but Sophocles doesn't tip him, and he's like, I will never forgive you for this.
Yeah, it's one of those like it was while he's in a inventive state or whatever, and just trying to build something, and he's like, "Oh, I need this part. Thanks." Slams the door.
You just see time pass as he's standing out there. It's just like, no tip. I will never. I will never forgive you for this. You should that one episode where you were supposed to move. You should have moved. You should have just left. I hate. And then people have to drag him away. It's like, no, he'll just Sophocles. Just you know what
Yeah,
you did.
when he finds out, it's like everybody else is acting all sad, and you just see him in the back with like sparklers dancing. Oh, good.
Oh my god! Why do we like making characters horrible people?
Because it's more fun sometimes.
It kind of is. But like I said, Elio can be a little more strict, but he doesn't have to be out and out a horrible person. And maybe he's like the main person who talks to Lily, because like the games, their dynamic was very interesting between Elio and Lily, or Selene and Lily. Their dynamic was interesting. It was sad. It was kind of touching at times. Even when she scolded you about beating everybody in the school at one point.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we kind of do need to get to the point about the what is it, the Ultra Recon team, or what are they called? The where the pretty much what the gang in the games become, or in the
when they start catching the Ultra Beasts.
Yeah, and they wear the bicycle helmets and bicycle uniforms.
Yeah, that's one of the most boring arcs they've ever done. I don't know. I kind of thought that maybe this is the point where they go to where. I don't know. I have nothing for that. That arc was so boring to me. It didn't even register for this video.
Yeah, the only thing I can kind of think of is maybe the whole whatever their team is called is out trying to catch one of the stronger, the Stack Attacker or a Guzzlord or something that's appeared, and this is the only time they show up, and it's like to help, and end up being the reason that they catch that specific Ultra Beast, I think.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, I do think I want Selene to have more interactions with Gladion than most of the other cast.
Just because she's kind of on her own journey through the region.
Well, also, we also said she would have interactions with Team Skull, and technically, he is a member of Team Skull.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's a case of she's very friendly, and he's not. He's very much not friendly in the slightest. But at the same time, like you might see Ash trying to convince him, "Hey, why don't you go talk to Lily or work things out with your mom?" But she could be like, "No, I get it. Like, no offense, but your mom is kind of scary. But in all seriousness, she is trying. But do what you want." Like, she's not overly pushy about it. But Gladion just kind of Gladion is more or less convinced by it regardless.
Okay, I can kind of see that is. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of where we put like these episodes kind of.
There's so many unnecessary filler episodes. I think you can put them anyway. The one filler episode I want to keep is the baseball episode, because that was actually kind of fun.
Okay. So,
but I'd put them on different teams, and they get way too intense about it.
It's just one of those like they're playing like that. They just tackle each other when they're playing in the field.
He could hit it into the outfield. She could pick up the ball and just run after him with the ball. It's like, you could have thrown it and gotten him out. Like, no, I have to be the person to get him. They get oddly competitive over the dumbest things.
I could see it being like part of it with her, or she like he hits one that looks like it's going out of the park, and she literally jumps like 10 feet in the air just to catch the ball.
It's like, but she didn't cheat. She didn't cheat. You're out. But you're out. But I'm going home.
But then it's like the next play is the exact same thing from someone else, and she does the jump, and she only goes up like a foot, and the ball just sails right over her. It's literally she can only do it if it's against Elio.
I love that idea. That's perfect. Heck, heck, in a way, let's do this way. I want them competing in the Alola tournament at the end.
Okay.
I don't specifically. Here's the thing: with all the matchups, I don't know if I want them facing each other right away. But I like a lot of the Alola matchups, so that makes things kind of difficult.
Yeah, I can understand that because they do a good job of kind of because what it's the first really big matchup is Gladion versus Kiawe, right? Towards the end.
I was upset about that.
And then it's Ash versus Hal, right? And then
I think Hal takes on Professor. Hold on. Keep making stuff up, and I'll look it up.
Okay. But yeah, I think it's Hal versus Ash because isn't that the one that Ash's Rowlet falls asleep and they first try to say he's out, but then go no. Then the Kahuna jumps on and goes, "No, it's just asleep. Wake it up."
Okay, it's Ash versus Faba.
Faba. Oh God, I forgot Faba entered the tournament.
Yeah, and it's Jesse versus James, and it was who's the girl with purple hair?
Purple. Oh, is that the assistant for something?
It's Kiawe versus I don't even know her name.
Yeah, I don't think she's that big part of it.
Yeah, but Hapu, that's her. No, it's not.
Oh.
I give up. I don't care.
But yeah, so I mean, there's a couple places that we could kind of tuck them in. Technically, I don't think would really need Faba in the tournament. That doesn't necessarily make that much sense.
A lot of stuff in that series didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Heck, maybe we could go back to the point where there's actually like a pre-set of rounds before the actual tournament.
I would love that. I would love that. And I did have a team of 6 for them.
Okay.
But to be fair, with some of your ideas, this was pre your ideas, so I'm not gonna.
We'll see how to adjust once you kind of go over the 6 that you had.
Okay, Primarina for Elio.
Okay.
And Oricorio, but it's pink, so it's psychic.
Okay.
Passimian.
Is that the football one or the psychic one?
Football one. What the green and white one.
Okay.
Oh, and the reason I say that is because it never got an episode. Well, let me put it this way: there was an episode that was released, but it was the band episode where Ash puts black. I'd have him.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd have Elio catch that, and Alolan Sandslash. We could probably sub that out, and Alolan Muck, and for some reason I don't know why I'm stuck with this one, Minior.
That would be an interesting one because I didn't see the episode that one I'm guessing is in because I'm guessing it's season 2 or beginning of season 3. So
it's not a very memorable episode.
So and that's a unique Pokemon that I think would be one that's like, oh, like just to have around. We never get that sort of Pokemon. Like I'm thinking of like the LGM get a hand like 1 or 2 episodes and that's it. They don't really stick around. Clefable, they only get those sort of like one-off episodes where they're trying to get back to the moon.
Yeah, and then Team Rocket's like, we'll use the Moonstone on our Pokemon. I'm like, that's not going to work on Coughing and Ekans. Guys know that, right?
Hey, attack! You never know unless you try.
If it works, I'll eat humble pie on that. But I had Selene's team too.
All right.
Okay, I said Rowlet or Decidueye, but we can work. We can. This was before we talked.
Yeah.
I had Araquanid, the water spider thing.
Okay.
A yellow Oricorio, which is crap. I don't remember that one.
Is that electric?
It might be.
Right.
It might be, but I don't know. I wanted one Pokemon that they both kind of shared to symbolize their friendship.
Okay, so
you're right, electric.
Okay, and then 3 more.
That Dragon Drampa.
Yeah, because that only got kind of a 1 episode where it saved Lana and Mallow, right? I think it's
something like that. Yeah, something like that. And when she goes to Kanto, because we can talk about this later, but when she goes to Kanto, I actually want her to catch a Tyranitar.
Okay, that's an
Like,
interesting one.
well, one, I wanted to throw Johto a bone, and two, I kind of just thought to myself, she treats it like she treats it super friendly, but this thing is terrifying, and it's basically out for blood.
It's got like the stereotypical where it's like a really angry face, but it's like the sweetest thing to her the entire time.
Yeah,
It absolutely adores her.
yeah. But when it's around anybody else, it's like, can you take it with you? It's like, no, you'll be fine. And he's a total sweetheart. Help.
So speaking of that, I think it has like it has the angry face towards everybody, but it has an extreme angry face towards Elio. And she doesn't understand why he doesn't want to be around it at all. And
it's just, no, I like that. I love that idea. Let's do that.
All right, and then I think there's one more.
Yes. So I want them to go to Kanto at some point, but I want there's a story about Robin and How I Met Your Mother where she kind of feels like she doesn't belong. I'd kind of have her go back to Kanto and realize she's adopted a lot of stuff from Alola, and throughout the series it could show that she's kind of homesick.
I can kind of see that like this is her first journey outside of the Kanto region, and maybe they mentioned like one of the festivals that we heard back all those years ago.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's that time of year again, huh? And she's like, I'm missing the only one I can think of is the Women's Day, Girls' Day festival that they had that one episode where
something like that. I'm considering the topic. We're gonna try very hard not to insult it too much, but
yeah,
I would have like Elio pick up on that. And in the manga, it says that she really likes poison Pokemon, and I like poison Pokemon too. They're really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd have him kind of catch something and give it to her, or get an egg and give it to her, and just be like, well, if it's a Kanto Pokemon, you'll have a little slice of home with you, so you'll never really be homesick. And that's when it'd be a really sweet moment between the two.
See, that would be an interesting little dynamic for him, and give Elio a bit of a nice moment to not necessarily be as angry or as spiteful as I've made him so far.
Yeah, I was about to say, you've made him spiteful. I've made him just a tad blunt. And maybe when they get back to, maybe it's because I said Nidoran, like a male Nidoran.
I can see it. I think that would be interesting.
Maybe she sees it, and she starts breaking down, cries like, "What's wrong? This is the best gift ever!" And she hugs Elio. She's like, "Elio, I love you. You're my best friend." And she's like, "Come on, everybody's watching."
And then Tyranitar comes up and literally goes like that and separates.
It starts coming towards the two, and the narrator's just like, "Well, I guess that's the end of the episode." And Journey's like, "Don't pause here. Get me out of here."
So, what would their relationship with Professor Kukui be?
I feel like they would both just really admire and look up to him. Not a huge thing, but just both, like, maybe Elio's kind of shy that he's a fan of Kukui. She's just like, can you give both of us an autograph? Elio won't ask. He's too shy. He's like, that's not... Yeah, one, please.
So, I almost want Elio to be able to, like, he's done his research, and so he knows, like, all the identities of all the, like, masked Pokemon battlers, and he's like, yeah, so that's Professor Kukui, and I'm still a huge fan, but he's the only one that seems to know that he's the Master Royal without, like, so it's that big reveal for all the people at the end of the series. It's just like, y'all didn't realize?
Yeah, I've been saying that for, we thought you were joking.
When do I joke?
When was the last time you heard me joke? But I would have... Here's the thing. I do feel like Lily would bring out the nicer side of him. Now, similar to... I guess I don't know any other way of saying this. Similar to how Bulma makes Vegeta a nicer person.
So, he's absolutely terrified of Lily?
No, just in the... in all seriousness, Vegeta is way nicer because of Bulma. Honestly, here's the thing: you have Elio being not like warming up to Lily. I honestly had him being like the one person he trusts from the get-go, besides what's her name, Selene.
Mm-hmm.
I even thought, but then I came across a problem. My brain did a horrible, horrible thing.
What did it do? Remember
how I kind of said how it kind of would be implied that Elio does like Lily?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, my brain told me, hey, why don't you have him be not like Brock about it, but he wouldn't deny it as readily fast. And he could even say it could even be a case of Gladion being like, okay, who told Lily I was here? Everybody turns to Elio, and he's like, yeah, that was me. Sorry, future brother-in-law. And he's like, I will never be your brother-in-law. Shut up. Yeah, I hate my brain sometimes.
Well, I guess we did need to bring that up. So, what would his Elio's relationship be to Gladion besides what you just mentioned? Which, like, every time they see each other and Elio's trying to be nice to Lily, Gladion tries to get in between them, and it's like,
I feel like it would be a case of he wouldn't say anything right away, but if they were ever alone, it's just like, you're being very nice to my sister. It's just like, well, yeah, she deserves to be treated nicely, and he's kind of like, he puts his hand on the shoulder, like really friendly. He's like, don't mess it up, okay? And it's like, what's happening?
One of those, I will kill you if you do anything.
I will kill you. If she cries, I will kill you. But what if I make her so happy she cries? I will still kill you. Technically, that counts.
Yeah. And it's one of those, it's like, and trust me, my father would say the same thing about to you.
And what? No, I was gonna say Elliot would be like, "Are you sure?" But that would get a little too dark considering what happens with Lily's dad, with their dad.
Yeah, which maybe we'll talk about that one day.
Lily actually,
probably not.
I can stomach through one more review. I can try to stomach through one more for Clement and Bonnie exclusively, but nobody else. But ultimately, okay, we've talked about this a couple of times before, but would they interact with anybody else like them?
Like, what do you mean, like them?
Anybody, any of the other characters I don't want to say created, but developed.
I think it would be just kind of funny if, like, they happen to know at least one set of or one character that we've created. So, oh yeah, I ran into this weird guy or weird person when I was traveling in insert random one of our regions. I don't know which one I'd want.
I kind of just went for a coin flip. Let's just say Lucas.
Okay, so I met this guy. He liked wearing his beret, and it was. I started to think it was maybe a little too tight or something.
It's just, and they're just like, I mean, he seemed like a nice guy, but I don't. Oh, and then maybe Elio could be like, yeah, he seemed like he was even smarter than you, Selene. And Selene's like, what did you say? Like, Selene could get very weird when people, she could have a complex, like, smarter than me. Like that one episode of Ed, Edd and Eddy where they're like, oh, Kevin might be smarter than you, Double D, and Double D's like, oh, shall we investigate? And that's when she gets serious.
Yeah, it's one of those. So, I almost want Selene to, like, she showed up to Alola, took the entrance exam, and took the graduation test on the same day and passed both with flying colors. It's like, oh, well, there's nothing we can teach you here right now that you really don't already know from.
Yeah, she's like, and I've graduated, so now I've reached the next step, and you see her wearing a tuning jacket, and they're like, that's not the franchise. Take it off. But it's not Selene. No.
But it's mine. I spent money to get it shipped here from Japan using insert random Japan ad here.
It's just like, wait, that was you used my money. No, we're not doing this. But I think here's the problem. I get the feeling that sometimes Alola's a little too comedic. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah, that well, it had some of the most, actually, I would say some really good dark episodes, like the one where Stoutland passes away. It's like that's actually something that I would never have expected from this series of Pokemon. Maybe some of the original series and maybe X and Y. Maybe a little in Black and White. It just depends on like the arc, but not here. This was built up so much more as like we're being very funny with everything now.
Yeah. Because we kind of been ignoring Mallow, and I kind of have Elio kind of, because one of the main problems is, as much as I liked the episode where they talked about Mallow's mom, it kind of felt like it came right the hell out of nowhere. Like, because when a Pokemon character has one parent, you don't really assume anything. It's just like, oh, Dawn's mom, and we don't really think about Dawn's dad all that much, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like, okay, there are Pokemon trainers somewhere, like Ash's dad.
Yeah. Maybe Elio's at their restaurant or something, and he notices a picture, and he kind of looks at it, but Mallow takes it down. Like, it's like, what was that? And she's like, nothing. Just do you need any more juice? Do you need any more juice? And he doesn't know how to bring up, like, hey, I'm here if you need to talk or anything.
Yeah, and I could see it being like that. That would be kind of a good setup with it being close to like maybe the anniversary of her passing or her birthday's coming up or something, just so that we start seeing stuff that leads up to that episode, getting clues. That would be an interesting way of bringing it in.
Yeah. Heck, I'd have Lana be the one person who gets their sense of humor when they're together. Like, she starts making references with them. I mean, she's like, because we both agreed that Lana was consistently the funniest character.
Oh yeah, she had the, I guess the best way of saying it is the most sadistic character, and but when everybody else is a goody two shoes all the time, it makes all the difference when your comedy is a little bit more dark.
Side tangent: would you believe that people actually don't like Lana? That the people were like, "Oh my God, Mallow's amazing, but Lana's not that great." And you and I are like, "Look, Mallow's all right, Mallow's cool, but Lana is getting us through this."
Yeah, it's one of those like I mean, her twin, are they sister or the sisters that are twins?
Yeah, her sisters.
Like, oh, is this your boyfriend? And her freaking out. It's like that's actually, well, it's overdone, but it's still funny and stuff, and it fits here.
Yeah. Heck, Olivia did the same thing. She's just like, "Oh, you and Ash are going on the fishing date," and she's like, "No, shut up." And Ash is just like, "Oh, we're going to do whatever it is we're doing." I don't even remember specifically what the episode was about.
Isn't that the one where they're hunting a Kyogre or something?
I don't think so. I think that was several episodes. I think that was like a season or two beforehand.
Okay.
Heck, maybe the school dance happens, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go to this?" And Selene's like, sure, we'd love to go. It's like, yeah, have fun. And Selene's like, "No, I said we'd love to go." And she's dragging him behind. It's like, please help me.
Selene, and in this episode, it's Selene's just trying to get Elio prepared and so that he can dance with Lily the entire time, and like he just constantly is trying to walk away and leave the dance, and she's like, I can see her doing a Misty and just dragging him by the ear everywhere.
Except she's dragging him to the date. Yeah, and at the end, Lily's like, "I had a lot of fun," and Elio's like, he looks at Selene, he's like, "You the man," and they just fist bump or something like that. I don't know. I like the idea of these two being like legitimately best friends, especially since in a lot of anime, people don't readily admit this person is my best friend. This person is my closest friend. I would have them just straight up admit that.
Yeah, and so tell me if you have the same feelings, but I absolutely, because we've kind of put Elio wanting to date Lily a little bit, I want absolutely nothing with him or her or Selene wanting to date each other. They are best friends, and there's nothing more. I don't really want anything set up for them to even be considered a chance.
The only thing I had for that, the only thing I had is like maybe somebody says it's like, you spend a lot of time with Gladio, and Elio spends a lot of time with Lily. I don't know, with the way you guys act, it seems like you two would end up together. They both just glare at the person like, you idiot.
Okay, I can understand. It would be like Ash or something who says that.
Yeah, Asha says, it's just like, hey, and Elio could be like, no, no. And that's when he could even bluntly be like, yeah, why would I want to be with she's my best friend, and she's like, that's so nice. Like, why would I want to be with Selene? And that's when she hits him because out of all the characters, I feel like Selene would be ready to smack him if he says something mean.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that's something we haven't talked about. What would their relationship be with Ash on the regular basis? Because we really haven't talked about that, and so we kind of gotta.
Do we have to? But
yeah.
I'd say Selene. Let me put it to you this way: I feel like Selene and Ash become fast friends. I feel like they're relatively close. Heck, in a much worse series, you could have Elio get jealous over their friendship, and she'd still be like, "No, you're still my best friend." But it could just be a case of she goes to him kind of when she just wants to hear stories about Kanto, and then she hears some of Ash's stories about Kanto, and she's like, "This sounds insane." Because the original series, when you go back and watch it, is kind of nuts.
I can almost see it being like she almost develops like a soft spot for Team Rocket, going, "You got sent into the stratosphere a lot, like more than they should be humanly possible to have survived." And I can almost see like the next time she sees them, she's trying to take care of them. It's like, oh my god, what are y'all okay? I mean, I've heard all these stories about y'all being blasted off again.
Yeah, and heck, it could even lead to like a serious episode, and it could be similar to the episode of the original series where she just goes to me, a patient is a patient, whether they're good or evil doesn't really matter. This is like that could be a great lead back to the Scoutland episode. Like, she wants to help everybody, good, bad, or indifferent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can almost see it being like an episode where she finds Meowth separated from Team Rocket and injured, and she does everything she can to take care of it. And it's another one of those Meowth. Oh, is Meowth going to leave Team Rocket and go with her because she's legitimately caring about her or about him? And in the end, she's like, "You're a patient. I was helping you. You're now healthy. Go back with your friends. You need to go with them."
I was going to say Wobbuffet.
But Wobbuffet's just too connected to Jessie. I can't see there even being like a chance that Wobbuffet leaves Jessie.
Oh, I didn't necessarily mean just leaving. I just mean the case of she tries healing him, and at the same time, it's like people like she legitimately helps, but then people point out, but it's also a Wobbuffet. It's kind of meant to take between every other Pokemon in existence. It's kind of the one that takes damage, and it's kind of meant to. And she's just like, I just want to help. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I love Jessie's Wobbuffet so much. I don't really know what it is. Her Wobbuffet was always fascinating to me, and apparently it's like a genius.
But it's like the nicest. It's like the nicest Pokemon that they've ever had. Because it keeps showing up. Like, I love the episode where they're in Team Rocket HQ, and I think they just can't remember which generation it's between, but they're turning in their Pokemon before their next journey. And all of a sudden they hear Wobbuffet.
I think it was between Gen 5 and Gen 6, because they didn't have Wobbuffet in Unova.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's literally like they were, okay, you're going over to God, what is that? Kalos. And
yeah.
It's like, but you need to turn your Pokemon. They're too identifiable there. And then they just hear Wobbuffet as they're walking out trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah. And then there was that one episode of Journeys where Wobbuffet ran around filming Pikachu. And it's just like, why does it have all of this footage? You know what? Some questions you just don't want the answer to, because I'm scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like to think that they're common. I like to think that despite Sun and Moon being a little too comedic. I'd like to think that I like their humor. I like Elio and Selene's humor. Together, apart, doesn't really matter.
I think they're really the missing pieces based on how we've kind of created them so far for the entire series.
Yeah, and it was particularly hard because we had 2 people to work with this time, and then again, I'd like to think we somewhat know what we're doing at this point. Emphasis on somewhat.
Maybe a little.
Yeah. But ultimately, I guess I'd keep the same ending. Ash wins and then just moves on or something like that.
Yeah, and I could see that almost make this like another big goodbye there. So we have the gang that's from Alola staying there, Lily and Gladion and Lusamine going off, Ash going off. Elio, because he wants to create that whole, we kind of said that, like, create a sanctuary, he might be staying in Alola, but...
Actually, I kind of thought the opposite. I kind of thought to himself, he kind of thinks to himself, you know, I've been on Alola for so long, I kind of don't really feel like I know that many other types of Pokemon, so... Oh, and maybe that's a case. Maybe he feels guilty because he's like, you know, Selene came here to basically so we could still be friends, so I kind of feel guilty in a sense. And she basically reassures him, and she's like, if you let me hold you back, I'm never going to forgive you, so you should go. Oh, but they're also the type of people to keep in contact. Act like, I don't know specifically how, because maybe it's through their Rotom decks or something like that. I just see them, no matter what, always keeping in contact with each other.
I could see it being like that. That's the moment that like the Rotom phone or the Rotom Dex is like, oh, I'm getting Kukui shows up with like the Rotom phones without Rotoms, and they're like, okay, I've got some new phones for y'all, and gives them to them before they leave.
Yeah, and maybe. Oh God, we never talked about Rotom Dex.
Who?
Exactly. I did have something that I actually thought you would appreciate.
Okay.
Because it would be a case of, oh, well, here are your Pokedexes. Oh, thanks. If you want, now, these are the versions that just read Pokemon data and tell you. You could have a version like this Rotom Dex right here that Ash has and actually have it talk to you. And Elio's like, why would I want that?
I can just see him and I can see Selene and Rotom Dex having almost a rivalry for who knows more about the Pokemon.
And somehow, I'd like to think that somehow Selene wins, even if it wouldn't make sense. But part of it's just because I hate Rotom Dex so much.
Yeah, it's just like random Pokemon, and they just start blurting out random facts at each other, trying to beat the other one.
Even facts that nobody really thinks of. Like, it just starts evolving, and she's like, and Umbreon is black. Well, no, duh. Oh.
But did you know that this one's gonna have blue spots, and it's literally shiny, and...
It's shiny, it's just like, Selene, where did you get that? Catch it! No, too late, Aria let go. Why?
Yeah, it wanted to be free, so I wasn't gonna hold it back.
Elio collapses into the sand. It was a shot, and you just see Lana patting him on the back. It's okay. It's happy. It's okay.
And he's just like, I could have sold it for money.
I could have so much money. God, out the window. Oh, heck. It could even be a case of maybe while he has that personality, a little kid bumps into him. It's like, I dropped my ice cream. I'm sorry. And he's like, here, I'll just buy you another one. And the kid's happy, but deep down he's like, I hate this. And Selene's like, you're a good guy. No, I'm not. You're a good guy. Shut up.
So I'd almost want Barry to have come back in an episode and he actually finds Elio, and Elio believes the fine is real, and it's just like...
He gives him the money, and Barry's like, what are you doing? Paying you. What are you gonna do now? I don't know. Nobody's ever paid the fine. Take this back. I don't know what to do.
And they're just like, but it's a fine. And they just keep shoving the money back and forth, even though all he wants to do is take it back. But he's like, he believes the fine is real.
It's just like, money's very important to me. Me too. So they instantly become friends. At that point. But speaking of friends, are we doing anything with Hao besides just Hao? I know he's not a character we focus on in these videos, but he does next to nothing in the series. So I didn't know if you had anything for extra credit, basically.
I mean, maybe have had. Yeah,
It's okay to
it's
say
just.
no. I have nothing for him.
I mean, I guess we could bring him in earlier to having been like, there's a powerful trainer that's kind of traveling around the islands, and he has beaten Elio or Selene in a Pokemon battle, and at least then we get at least a little bit more with him of him actually being a halfway decent trainer and beating one of the recurring characters that we're creating.
I guess something like that. Maybe him and Gladion get into it, but then you see Celine doing Gladion's pose or whatever it is in the background. He turns and is like, what are you doing? I don't know. It looks fun when you do it, so I start doing it. And then Elio's like, that's so stupid. Oh no, I feel cool doing it. I see why you do it now. And Gladion just doesn't know how to process any of it.
Especially when the rest of the gang just kind of starts doing it.
It's I've never understood. He's basically a glorified JoJo's character because of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a JoJo's reference, isn't it?
Probably. All Team Skull is basically a JoJo's reference, but yeah. Do we have that much else? Because I feel like I don't feel like these are the most developed, but I feel like they're some of the more likable characters we could have made. And sometimes I prefer likable characters over developed characters in a sense. But we still gave them some good stuff to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the last thing we should kind of discuss, we're not necessarily making them part of the main cast. We're making them more of like a Gladion, a recurring character. We see him every few episodes, not necessarily every episode, right?
Yeah, yes, that's the thought process I had.
Yeah, because that's the issue I have with Sun and Moon is that there's already too many characters that are in like every episode. So
Yeah.
okay, so yeah, I think that's kind of the last thing we need to settle down.
Yeah, I guess we never talked about what happens when they return, but I don't have that much for them.
Uh, I don't really have a reason for them to return. The last season before coming back, it's like I want more older characters that haven't had a chance to show up in a long time.
I know, but we did the same for everybody else, so I would have felt too guilty for these characters that don't exist and have no way of extracting their revenge on us.
I don't know. I guess let's see.
I at least want them appearing in. I want them appearing in Alola. Like maybe Ash and Elio get back to Alola at the same time in Journeys, and that's when he and Selene have like a big reunion or whatever. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy.
Yeah, as I almost see like him and Kiawe both being like, I want to challenge Go to see if he's worthy of being Ash's traveling companion friend.
Yeah. And if you lose, you can't travel together anymore. Why? I don't know.
Because he's my friend and I need to make sure you're good enough for him.
I feel like Elio would be the one because we talked about that episode. They're all way too in to go, and they're like, "Oh my god, you're Ash's friend. That's so great." Hey, maybe Elio's the one person like, guys, back up. You are clearly creeping this person out. Oh, and like he's very kind of serious about it. But then the second somebody says, "Oh, by the way, we got a letter from Lily," he's like, "What? What? Lily?
Mine."
She's does she?" He glances over the line. Does she mention me? I'm like no, she doesn't. Oh no, just kidding. She says say hi to Elio, and he's like, whatever.
But I also see Selene being extremely jealous of Ash and Go being research fellows. It's like, oh, it sounds so interesting. It's so much fun and getting to learn all about more Pokemon and working with a Pokemon professor. That sounds like so much fun. I want to do that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I thought you were about to say they would be jealous of Ash and Go's friendship, and she's like, Elio, we have to be better friends than them. And he's like, fine. I get what the episode's almost over. Whatever.
But I almost see it being like she like is then like the part of the episode is just her banging on Kukui's door, waking up the baby and all that, saying, "I'm your research fellow now." Trying
And the whole time she's like, "Okay, I'm your research fellow now." It's just like, I'm glad you waited 4 hours after us waking up to have this conversation, and you just see Elio holding the baby. It's just like, I don't understand. You could just say no. You could just say no. Oh, it's okay. He's holding the baby, and nobody knows. The people are like, why is he? You know what? He's a good caretaker. It works.
He's doing all that, but I also see like when he says that, trying to tell Kukui that he can say no. She just punches him in the back of the head again, and he's just like this, holding the baby. It's like he managed to stay up and hold the baby perfectly.
Yeah. I could be cool. I would be cool with that. Like, Elio has an odd way of attracting people in Pokemon, and he doesn't really know how he does it.
Yeah. I guess in the end, Kukui's just like, well, if I can send you away, okay, good. So I can get some rest and my baby will stop crying.
Yeah, sure. So, and they both could leave Lola and go on their way. But yeah, it's a small thing, but like I want more from. I don't want them to just disappear and we never see them again. Especially if we start seeing recurring characters in the new Pokemon series, because then we could just keep this going forever.
Yeah, but until we know more about that, I don't know if there's much to discuss there. I mean, of course, they get their cameo of watching Ash in the Masters 8 and all that, like everybody else does, but I don't know if there'd be anything else as of right now, because I don't know where they're, what is it, how to become a Pokemon Master or whatever the new series, 11 episodes is.
Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up with you. I'm not watching those.
You're not gonna watch the end of Ash before the build up for the new series, even if it's just we're not even gonna plan to review them yet. I don't think.
Let me put it this way: I might watch the last episode, but let me put it this way: I have no interest in reviewing it. I just don't. It doesn't seem. I'm putting my. Let me put it this way: Pokemon's one of those franchises that I love, but I do suffer burnout from, and I've been suffering from burnout for a good while now. So I want to stop when I can, take a break, and recharge my batteries before I just lose interest potentially forever.
Yeah, I can understand that. So I guess that's kind of our way of announcing that after reviewing this next part of Pokemon Journeys, it'll probably be a little while before we do any more Pokemon.
Now here's the thing. I don't necessarily think I would like to do the movies because fans have been saying, please do the movies. Please do the movies. I can do that. I can honestly do that. I just think reviews, the way we've been doing them, might have had something to do with it. And that's on both of us, because neither of us ever know what we're doing on this show.
That is very true.
Yeah. But I'd love to do the movies. Just I don't want to review Scarlet and Violet, the anime, until I don't know. It's a wait and see thing.
Yeah, we're still gonna watch. We're still fans. It's just we need to take some time and process and get our feet under us for Pokemon again.
Well, then again, I guess we have to talk about the elephant in the room. What do we do for the next series? What do we do for Gloria and Victor and Sword and Shield, or Journeys?
We'll eventually get to them. I mean, we've already kind of talked, I guess personally, Gloria is the meme. It's literally, she's the Scott.
I have some ideas for both of them. I actually have more ideas for Victor than I do Gloria, but I actually have something, but it would be a different type of thing. But we'll talk about that later. But overall, Elio and Selene, two very different characters apart, but two very similar characters when they're together. They can be ditzy, they can be serious, but ultimately, they can even be mad at each other sometimes. But they're still some of the best friends in Pokemon. And honestly, with this, if they had done it right, they could have been one of, if not my favorite friendships in anime.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, it seems like a lot of the relationships we might get a little bit like Maru and Lana being good friends, but other than that, it's Ash in their relationship, not. So it'd be interesting having characters that have a more developed relationship that isn't with Ash directly.
Exactly. Especially when they're together, because in the words of a very dumb person, when it comes to Elio and Selene, they're two halves of a whole idiot. But ultimately, do you have anything else before we wrap this up?
Nope, I think we're pretty much in a good spot.
Alright, so ladies, gentlemen, and others, what do you guys think of Elio and Selene? How would you put them in Sun and Moon? Differing personalities, different Pokemon? Let us know. Let us know, because honestly, when it comes to Pokemon, these are my favorite videos to do out of all the stuff we do.
Yeah, I mean, just any new ideas, because we've got plenty of more characters that we still need to go through and come up with new personalities to throw them in the anime.
And in some cases, we have to go back.
Eventually, we will.
I'm curious what we're doing for Ethan, but but like I said, that's for another video. But please, let us know. Hopefully we can get more content out. Richard and I talked last week about a very creative video that we'd like to get out to you guys. But overall, we're still coming up with stuff, so please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm proud, because out of all the character videos we've done for stuff like this is seemingly the one that hasn't completely crashed yet compared to the others, which is why we should close this out as fast as possible. So, anyways, like, comment, subscribe, Alola, and we'll see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.